We're going to learn about the distributive property. The distributive property is another mathematical property that helps us solve problems quickly, mentally, in our heads. To multiply a sum by a number, multiply each addend by the number outside the parentheses. So the distributive property says that instead of adding what's in the parentheses first and then multiplying by 2, another way you can do this and not break order of operations is to multiply the number outside the parentheses by each number inside. So we would do 2 times 7, and then 2 times 4, and then add those partial products together. So 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 4 is 8, and then you would add 14 and 8 to get the answer of 22. So the distributive property helps us solve a problem quickly in our head. Algebraically, A times B plus C is the same thing as A times B plus A times C. Here's another example. The expression 3 times 20 plus 15 is the same thing as 3 times 20, here it is, the number outside by the number inside, plus 3 times 15, the number outside multiplied by the number inside. And then you find those two partial products and add those together. Let's look at an example that I want you to write down in your notes. Here's where the distributive property is going to be very helpful. Now, we don't have any parentheses here, but another way you can use a distributive property is to distribute or take that first number and multiply it by each part of the second number, especially if the second number is a mixed number like this, or if it's a decimal number. Take a look. Copy this example down. So to solve 9 times 4 and 1/3, what I could do mentally is I could do 9 times 4, which I know is 36, and then, let me use another color so you can see what I'm doing, 9 times 1/3. 9 times 1/3 is the same thing as doing 1/3 of 9. In other words, it's 9 divided by 3. You can look at the work if you want. I want you to be able to do this mentally and not have to write it out. 1/3 of 9 is 9 divided by 3, which is simply 3. You can see that if you were to cross simplify, you would get that answer of 3. But I want you to try to do this in your head. So all I did is 9 times 4, 36. 9 times 1/3, which is 3. And now I'm going to add those two, what I call partial products, together. 36 plus 3 is 39. So I'm writing out all the work to show you what's going on in my head. But the idea is that you should be able to, by the end of a few days, be able to solve these problems in your head by just simply using and applying the distributive property. 9 times 4, 9 times 1/3, and add those two partial products together in your head. Now I want you to try a few. I want you to try A, B, and C, and then we'll check them together. So go ahead and pause the video and try A, B, and C. Now let's go over them. A is a little bit harder because we have this 3/5 here. Let's take a look. So first thing I'm going to do is 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Second thing I'm going to do is 5 times 3/5. This is a little bit harder. 5 times 3/5. Now, try to follow me as I do this mentally. I know that 1/5 of 5 is simply 5 divided by 5, which is 1. So if 1/5 of 5 is 1, then 3/5 of 5 is 3. Another way you can look at it is simply doing it the long way, putting 5 over 1, you can cross simplify, and you see 1 times 3 is 3. 3 over 1 is going to give you 3. The final answer then would be 10 plus 3, or 13. So using the distributive property, you can write out your work if you want to, but eventually I want you to be able to solve a problem like this in your head. Let's look at another one. See what you got on this one. 12 times 2 is 24. And then 12 times 1/4, well, I hope you saw that as 1/4 of 12, which is simply 12 divided by 4, and that is 3. 24 plus 3 is 27. Check your work on that one. You can always pause the videos, look that over again, rewind it. Let's look at the last one. This is a decimal. I hadn't given you an example of a decimal, but the same concept applies. I would do 2 times 3. That gives me 6. Now the second part's a little trickier. It's 2 times 0.6. Let me write that out. 2 times 0.6, which is simply 2 times 6, 12, and you move the decimal point over or back 1 time. So 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 0.6 is 1.2. Now add 6 plus 1.2 in your head, and that gives you 7.2. The answer is 7 2/10. We will practice this some more tomorrow. Practice makes better. And make sure you bring your notes and your examples so I can see that you've watched the video.